All right, well, welcome everyone. It's Wednesday night and it's our course spotlight. And I'm Kathy Lawson, Chief Knowledge Officer of the Great Discovery. And it's all about empowering humanity with knowledge. We've been talking about that a lot and we'll continue to do so. So tonight is no different. We get a chance to hear from someone fairly new to our platform and so glad that he's here. So Pacifico, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He started his career as cash flow coach in 2011 by first learning how to pay down debt quickly. And he was then able to use the equity in his first property to buy another property. This quickly translated to building a real estate portfolio. Pacifico also has a life insurance license in order to stay up to date with current asset protection strategies. Pacifico spends time developing strong relationships with partner companies in order to provide education, resources, and support to his clients. He takes pride in listening to what his clients need and delivering the coaching and connections necessary for their success.
Again, thank you everyone for allowing me to share my course here. My name is Pacifico. Sometimes I get the question, is that my company or that's my name? No, that's my actual name. I own a company called Unlimited Cash Flow Solutions, and the three tenets of our company is education, number one, and this is why we're excited to share our educational resources with this great platform. All right, so we start off with education, and then it's about connection, right? Connecting with the right people, and then you've got to take action. So my title is that I'm a cash flow coach and strategist. So what that means is I look at things on the individual level for individuals, families, small business owners, entrepreneurs, and I try to look for every opportunity to increase bottom line cash flow, right? So whatever your income is, whatever your expenses are, there's always opportunities there to get more monthly cash flow. I've been doing this for a while, 14 plus years. Started off with as being a client of a company that taught me the strategy that I'm gonna spotlight a little bit today, but I encourage you to take the full course. It's a free course, but it leads into a lot more things. But I've been able to use what I started off learning, to build a real estate portfolio. So I do real estate investing, and I also help coach entrepreneurs and small business owners to scale. I bought over 3.5 million worth of real estate, and it keeps going and going and going. I'm based here in Honolulu, Hawaii. So I'll give you a little tip here. If anyone wants to come to Hawaii, you can visit us, and you could probably write it off as a tax deduction. So, so save on taxes while you come to Hawaii. So let us know. You can reach out to us, and then you can Google our company. So yeah, this is my company. So Unlimited Cash Flow Solutions. I do have a business partner. Her name is Amy, and that's pretty much it's a two coach company. So whatever I'm going to show you today, you rest assured that you're meeting either with myself or my business partner, right? So we do a lot of one-on-one coaching and stuff. And we're new to the Great Discovery, and uh, we saw the platform and we said, hey, this is a fantastic way to get information and valuable resources out there, and we've got more to come. So we just recently launched our first course with the Great Discovery, and we're currently working on several more. That's going to take a little bit to roll out, so keep a lookout for that. So I'm just going to kind of talk today, spotlight the workshops that the courses that are already out, and I'm actually going to mostly show how I've been able to use it myself. I think that's going to be more powerful because I recommend you guys take the course, but you get to see that the results that you're able to get. So with my company, we focus on four major things: real estate strategies, how to buy real estate, how to be in the best position to that, investment or first time home. And today we're going to focus a lot on the lending part, which is how to get capital, um, how to use capital with the banks, or we call it other people's money to your advantage, how to pay off debt. And then that bleeds into other things like business ownership and then asset protection and things like that. So we're pretty excited to share that with you. And what our company does is we consider ourselves a all-in-one solution. So whatever financial strategies you're looking into, again, we've been doing this for 14 years. We've built relationships, and I think the connections and the relationships really is what dictates your success, right? And as I can see, there's a lot of people on here. That's imagine the network that we all have. These are all resources that we can use to thrive and be successful. So yeah, within my system that we've created, we have connections and resources in all facets of the financial world, right? So That's why we call it like an all-in-one solution. So again, we're talking about cash flow, and I like to take a step back and go, how can we improve our cash flow? Well, to me, it starts with identifying what are things that are, draining our cash flow first. What's the problems? And sometimes we don't think about it too often because we're just so busy trying to make money, right? So we've identified the four biggest wealth drainers, and number one would be interest payments. So if you have debt or you're going to take on debt to grow your business, having high interest debt today is just draining your wealth. If you have like a 30-year mortgage, you may have a low interest rate, but over 30 years, you could be paying hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, right? And that's your money. So that's a wealth drainer. The second biggest wealth drainer to me is taxes. We're not going to talk about taxes today, but we have a full suite of tax strategy courses that we'll be working on. That's going to show you how to get rid of your lifetime expense of taxes. If you minimize that, you get to keep most of your money. And then inflation, that silent killer, I call it, right? Things just keep getting more and more expensive. And if you don't take inflation on head on by making more money or keeping more money, then you start feeling that squeeze, right? In your income. And then lack of financial education. And this is true because there is information everywhere, right? But to me, education is about someone who's experienced teaching you from experience, the do's and don'ts, right? Maybe some insider information that you may not have, right? Or have access to, and just talking to you one on one. That's true education. But then knowledge is when you take what you're going to learn and apply it. So that's why we're all big on application, right? What you're going to learn today is going to be great information, fantastic, education, but it's going to be when you start getting results, right? So um, let's jump right into the courses that we can highlight. So yes, the first course that we have is called Smart Banking Strategies: How to Pay Off Debt Faster and Boost Your Cash Flow. So that's our free course. You guys can I would definitely recommend taking a look at that. It's not too long, but I recommend definitely taking a look at that and then sharing with others. And then we have a set of more advanced courses where there are paid courses that go along with this. So that's going to be the one on your right here: Pay Off Your Mortgage to Build Wealth Faster. The results of doing that could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And I'm living proof of that. So yeah, so I would. This is definitely the first starter courses here. And then um, let me go backtrack. So in the smart banking strategies to pay off your debt quicker, we talk about how to use the bank products to your advantage, right? Loans, lines of credit, business credit, credit cards, right? 0% promo rates. These are all bank products that allow us to build wealth and pay off debt. And one of the major tools that we teach is using a line of credit. And this could be a personal line, home equity, or business line of credit. So we actually create another course specifically on lines of credit, how to use and master the bank's money. So you're going to hear me say this a lot. If you practice using the bank's money to pay off debt, now when you start building wealth, you've already got that experience that taking on debt to grow your wealth, it's not going to be a scary endeavor because you've already mastered it. So this is what that line of credit class, we also have this as well. And when we're talking about using the bank's money, we always need to be aware of our credit score. Credit score allows us to get into the banks and utilize their money. And so I have another course strictly on credit maximization and learning how to maintain and build your credit. So any of these topics that you guys check out, obviously you're going to be meeting with people. There's always going to be something that resonates, right? So this is again part of our lending um, course um, product in the beginning, and then it's going to lead into more things. So one thing that is included in our course, okay, is a one-on-one consultation with a cash flow coach, which is myself. So I just want to make sure you guys know that great information, but how does it pertain to you? I mean, we get that a lot with our business as well. When we're meeting new people, they're like, well, I could just YouTube this. I'm like, yeah, you could, but YouTube doesn't answer your questions. They don't talk to you. They don't gather your documents. They don't look at your tax returns. They don't talk about, are you actually doing the thing that you can do, and why are you doing what you're doing? So this is where Just all of our courses will include a one-on-one consultation, and within this consultation, we create something called a cash flow roadmap. Because we're talking a lot about financial strategies and products and systems, there's there could be 30 different strategies that we're planning out. There's no way you can do 30 strategies at once. So what we do is we plan everything out into one, two, or three um, actionable items that you do in a meeting. And so we planned it out into like this roadmap here. And I think this is the perfect visual representation of how we should do our finances, right? Because if you can't get one part of your plan done, how can you move on to the next one, right? And so holding somebody accountable to make sure they do everything, this is part of what we do, and it starts with the class. So I'm gonna kind of cover how I started off my journey, my cash flow journey. 14 years ago, I went to a class. I went to a workshop that was free. It was an in-person workshop here in Hawaii. And someone told me, you should go check out this class. It's going to teach you how to pay off your debt. I know you have a mortgage. It can show you how to pay off your mortgage in maybe a quarter to a third of the time. And I was like, well, that sounds pretty amazing. I'll go check it out. So I went to this free class and I couldn't dispute the numbers, the math. It totally made sense. And I was like, how come no one teaches this? Right. So I ended up becoming a client of this company and they showed me the strategies. And so how I started with learning how to pay off consumer debt. Okay. So I got a line of credit from a local bank. I paid off my credit cards, a small student loan. And the reason, we started there is it increased my cash flow per month. So oftentimes with financial strategies, you want to make sure that you get results as soon as possible, right? So when you see results, you're like, I'm going to keep doing it and doing it. So to me, starting off with paying off small consumer debts like that also improved my credit. It lowered my debt ratio. And I've been doing that for months. And I was able to pay off like a pesky credit card in like 6 months. That was, I did the timeline previously. It was going to take me like 3 years to pay off, right? So once I seen that this thing works, I was like, okay, how do I take it to the next level? So by working with my coach, he designed, let's now focus on your mortgage paydown. Now, the reason why we focus on mortgage paydown was he started teaching me that your equity in your property is the key to accelerating your wealth even faster. So I was like, okay, well, let me force equity in my property. So in the mortgage payoff course, you're going to see an example of how a mortgage could be paid off not in 30 years, but in 12 years. And we're going to show you the math behind possibly saving 200,000 of interest on a mortgage, right? And that's what I learned in the first course that I went to. So I started doing it myself. And for myself, the first thing when I started paying down my mortgage, I saved 26 months of mortgage payments just by doing one simple action and one simple move. And I saved almost 33,000 on my mortgage interest at the same time. And I was building equity in my house, right? So once I did that and I cycled that several times, my equity was higher, and now I went to the bank and I was able to pull a home equity line of credit. So I went to the bank and they said, you've got value. We're going to lend you money based on this value of your house. And because I was practicing on a smaller line of credit, like a $20,000 line, I was now able to use this bigger line of credit that was in the hundreds of thousands. And then I use that line of credit to upgrade and use as a down payment. And I was able to buy my second property within maybe like a year and a half of focusing on that mortgage versus buying another property was never in my plan before I started learning financial strategies, right? I thought, oh, just buy one house and I think that's all I can afford or be able to get. But once I started learning, okay, how do I use the bank's money? This is how I saw that real estate was the way to go. So by default, by buying my second house, I actually made my first house my first rental property, right? And I started learning real estate strategies, and I saw that the rental property was impacting my cash flow four ways. It was providing me monthly income. It was also saving me on taxes because I had a business now. It was going up in value, so I was gaining appreciation. At the same time, I hardly use any of my own money to acquire this asset. I use mostly the bank's money. But because I mastered the bank's money, I decided I need to just accelerate this even more and more. So the next level that we took it to was I want to run this real estate investing like a full-time business. So I created an LLC. I started connecting with tax strategists and business strategists, and we developed a way to use an LLC correctly. There's wrong ways to do it. Correctly, how to set up the LLC from the beginning the right way in order to maximize that LLC and real estate to leverage it even further and further and make more income and grow a real estate portfolio, right? So um, I wish I had this guidance from the beginning because I had to go and make mistakes creating my business. And now when I work with somebody individually, I provide them, the insights so they don't make the mistakes from the beginning for themselves, right? So that's the beauty of your experience and knowledge transfer. It's not only the wins that you pass on, it's the losses so that the others can learn from your losses so they don't. And right, and we save time and money. So with this LLC, it allowed me to then save on taxes, right? I'm going to assume everyone here on this webinar is a small business owner, an entrepreneur. So tax strategy is just a gateway. I mean, business ownership is a gateway to minimizing your taxes. I mean, we just did a tax and real estate workshop the other week, and we talked about how, let's say, you make 100,000 a year, but you're set to pay 25% to the IRS, right? That's 25% of your wealth going to someone else. Even if you just learn how to minimize it by 10%, that could be $10,000 a year. But what if, you live for 30 years or your business grows for 30 years, that's 300,000 back in your pocket, right? But so we really bring tax strategy to the forefront. Um, Tax filing is one thing, but to actually have business and tax strategy and real estate work together, that's how you get to keep majority of your money. Now, as we build out a business, we've added on how to get lending from your business, right? So currently, the way that I purchase assets like real estate or a business is I use my business instead. That way, you can grow your lending side on your personal side and grow it parallel to your business side. And the best thing about business lending is that it doesn't show up on your credit report. So when it doesn't show up on your credit report, it means it's not impacting your debt to income ratio or your personal credit itself. So we can now develop two streams of getting money, again, the personal side and the business side, and they don't cross each other. So it allows us to double our buying power and double our lending ability, right? So that's where the business side is where we are really thriving now, and we've created a lot more resources to help people grow their business. And then we're talking about building wealth today, but you've also got to start planning your protection side. So this is where we talk about the estate plan or legacy planning, right? So as you're building more and more assets and you're making more and more money, it's now time to carve out part of this new money that you're making to start doing protection strategies. The last thing you want is something like a medical, um, medical issues coming up or death or creditors, lawsuits. These are all things that can drain or even wipe out your wealth. So as we build more and more assets, we need to build a more robust estate plan and protection side, right? So this would include the LLC. How does it tie into your trust, right? How does it tie into your life insurance? What about your liability insurance? What about if you have a business, key man insurance, right? These are all things that we add on so that you're covered all your bases and it takes some of that burden, that stress off of your back, that you just spend more and more of your time go ahead and building wealth and creating more cash flow, right? So the protection side is important, and we build that along the way. And I've already built that for myself. And then the last part is I myself have um, built a self-directed retirement, right? So retirement, oftentimes when people think of retirement, they think of maybe a couple options. I have a 401k, have an IRA, have Social Security, right? But there's way more products out there that can complement your retirement and your retirement needs. So I'm really big on self-directed retirement because it allows you as the individual business owner or investor to choose the assets that you like. So for instance, I'm a big real estate guy. So a traditional 401k or IRA doesn't allow me to do real estate. So I do self-directed retirement accounts to do real estate things. I have a client that loves precious metals. So he's doing a portion of his retirement in precious metals. I have another client that likes cryptocurrency, so he's doing some of it in there. I have one that likes, owning businesses. So we say, okay, well, why don't you put your money in things that you like, right? So these are all little things that I've been able, not little, but these are things that I've been able to put in place to myself. But it all had to start somewhere, right? So there's a common ground here, right? It's how do we maximize our ability to make money because we only have a finite amount of time, right? And saving your money is not going to build wealth. We have to be able to use our resources, like the bank's money, our real estate, our business, right? Other people's time, other people's resources. So, um, our plan is yes, we started off with this initial course, but as you can see, we're going to start building this whole curriculum out, right, in stages. And like I said, the next stage that's coming out, we're working on it right now, is more real estate heavy type of workshop because people love real estate. They got to live somewhere anyway. So how do we continue to look into owning this type of asset? And then everything else will fall into place with the business side and then the protection side. And then we're going to add retirement stuff. So again, there's a lot of things that I maybe I covered in this, presentation here, but just keep in mind, we have a lot of resources. These are all things that we put into place for myself and then for my clients, and we're constantly looking for more relationships. So we're expanding what we have in our network. So if you we'll put it out there, if you guys have a resource that helps people with their cash flow, their business, their income, we would love to even do a one-on-one to figure out, okay, how can that be part of our solution as well, right? So in summary, again, we encourage you to take the class, share it with others, let us know your feedback. But once somebody says, hey, I took the course, how I want to take advantage of that one-on-one meeting, the one-on-one meeting that we do is number one, we try to get organized and we try to set a goal. We do goal setting, and then we do road mapping to figure out, from the beginning with just several pieces of information, what things are important to you and how do we get there. And then we'll make recommendations on, hey, this course is great here. We recommend you taking this course. And then, taking the information, go back to your licensed professional, or if you have somebody, or if you don't have somebody, we have it within our network. But we're constantly looking for new information. And as we get new information, we want to get it out there to the community. Things that always get updated are tax strategies. Every year there's something new with tax. Interest rates are constantly changing. The markets are always changing. There's new information and new technology. So when we see something that's valuable, we just love creating courses or webinars, and we want to utilize this platform to get this out to the masses to help people build their cash flow. So again, if you guys check out our free course, this is one of the slides on there. We're going to show how you can pay off a small, a consumer debt in like 6 months. I'll show you an example of that. And how does it impact you financially? Well, it improves credit. It lowers your debt ratio. It in, it increases your affordability, meaning if you didn't have $500 a month of payments, you could afford more, right? With inflation, you get access to more capital, so then now you can move on to the next strategy, and it increases your emergency reserves. It's hard to do financial strategy when you don't have emergency funds, right? So we built into the system ways to get emergency money. So, but that's all I want to cover today. That might have been a mouthful, but yeah, we're excited to have you guys check out our course. Let us know what you think, and then we're excited to get more information out to you guys. So yeah,
Go ahead,
feel
Tim.
free to jump in.
Yeah.
Hey Pacifico, this is Tim Taylor here. Great
Oh,
work. My goodness. You know what? I've seen a lot of wealth planning and cash flow strategies and things. And just the way you laid it out, starting from literally grassroots and planning it all out is a fantastic design. And you've done a great job. I'm going to promote this like crazy. And just love it. It goes all the way through from starting from zero and how do you get to somewhere. And so many different estate planners and financial planners, they come up with grandiose ideas and you just work it step by step. Great job. I'd love to see this bundled as an option in some of our enrollment packs. Great deal.
oh, thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Pacifico, there was a question in chat that Joyce wanted to know if you teach it to young teens or teenagers as they're starting their financial journey.
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is perfect for anyone that wants to that's really on their radar, like I want to learn financial strategy. So the even the credit course, it talks about how as a teenager under age 18, how do you even build credit, right?
Oh,
So there's the authorized user strategy, there's secured line of credit strategies. I teach this to my kids. So when I'll show you eventually the tax course, when I learned that I could pay my kids, the first thing I learned was how do I do that? I started paying them. I saved on taxes. It then created I created a savings account for them. I showed them how to write checks. I showed them how eventually maybe we can use this to create an IRA. So yeah, this is perfect. Have them start learning as soon as they can, you know. That's my
great.
recommendation. Yeah,
Okay, and now
to answer
Sandra.
your question.
I want to ditto what Tim said. I mean, I have an executive MBA in finance and strategy, and the way you laid this out is so clear and concise. And like Tim said, most financial strategists and coaches and stuff, it's so complicated that people just their eyes glass over. So again, this is very, very good, very straightforward, very solid. It takes me back to the days of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Okay, he was very good at laying this stuff out, and anybody could grasp it. And you've done a really great job. I mean, I did what Tim said. I would love to see some of this incorporated with some of our packs to help people because affiliates coming on the platform, they're in a business. Like you said, most of us have a business, right? We have LLCs, we have, whatever it is. And it would be very complimentary. Great job. That's all I can say is very nice job.
Oh, thank you, Sandra. Appreciate thank you for the kind words. Yeah, it's been 14 years in the making. It seems like it's simple, but in reality, it's been blood, sweat, and tears, right, to create this system. So,
Yeah, I think we know what Kathy and I know about blood, sweat, and tears trying to launch the Great Discovery. We feel your pain. We're with you. But you know what? The goodness that comes from all of your work, the hope that you can give people, empowering humanity with knowledge. And that's what you're doing. And that's beautiful. So thank you for that. I think it's wonderful.
oh, thank you.
I agree. Anybody else? Any other comments or questions? I think we answered the question in chat. And we're coming up on our half hour. So thank you so much, Pacifico. This was fantastic. And we look forward to seeing more. And, as you build your coaching business out in this whole thing, consider making it an academy. So, you can do whatever you like in the academy with it, with the coaching. So that would be great for so many people. But all right,
Okay,
Tim, do you have anything
awesome.
else you want to close with, or are we?
No, we're great. That was an absolutely epic session. We'll get this out all over the place. Guys, you can promote Pacifico's course. Go find him on your greatdiscovery.com marketplace. Link the course, share it wherever you can. Hey, you get paid when you sell something too. It's not a bad idea. Everybody, thank you so much for coming on tonight.